Ambassador Du Young adjusted his collar as he walked through the shining halls of Unity Station. The space station was huge, floating like a silver flower in space. It was the pride of the Galactic Confederation, where 100 alien species came together to talk about peace. Du Young felt the familiar heaviness in his steps. The station's gravity was set low to help the many alien species who came from gentle worlds. As a human from Earth, a planet that other species called a death world, he was much stronger than most aliens here. The morning meeting of the Confederation Council was about to start. Du Young entered the great round hall, where seats rose up in circles like a giant bowl. Light from nearby stars filled the room through clear walls. Representatives from all over the galaxy sat in their special chairs, each made for their different body shapes. "The human arrives," whispered a tall, thin alien with soft blue skin. Du Young pretended not to hear. After 5 years as Earth's ambassador, he was used to such comments. Many aliens still didn't trust humans. They thought anyone from a world with high gravity, strong storms, and large predators must be dangerous. Du Young took his seat next to Ambassador Rel, a floating creature who looked like a jellyfish made of crystal. Rel was one of the few aliens who treated humans with respect. "Good morning, friend Du Young." Rel's thoughts touched Du Young's mind gently. "I hope Earth's gravity didn't make you too strong today." It was a small joke between them. The council leader, a tall plant-like being named First Bloom, rose from the center platform. Their flower crown glowed with soft colors. "The council meets today to discuss." A loud alarm cut through the air. Red lights flashed across the clear walls. Many representatives covered their hearing organs, shocked by the noise. "Emergency transmission from the outer systems," a voice announced. The main screen lit up, showing a scene that made the whole room go quiet. A colony world was burning. Ships that no one had ever seen before filled the sky. They looked like giant insects made of metal and flesh mixed together. On the ground, strange creatures moved through the streets. They walked on many legs, carrying weapons that shot green fire. "Help us," cried the colony's leader. They came from nowhere. "Our defenses." The screen went black. First Bloom's flower crown turned pale gray with fear. "We have lost contact with Colony World Gentle Breeze. All nearby ships report similar attacks. The attackers do not answer any calls for peace." The room burst into scared voices. Most Confederation species had lived in peace for so long that they had almost forgotten about war. Their weapons were weak, meant only for ceremonies. Du Young sat up straight. He knew what was coming. Sooner or later, these peaceful aliens would need help. They would need soldiers who were used to fighting, to surviving hard conditions. They would need humans. He touched the communicator on his wrist, sending a short message to Earth. "Be ready." Ambassador Rao floated closer. "Friend Du Young, I fear dark times are coming. The Confederation has enjoyed peace for so long. Sometimes peace needs protecting," Du Young said quietly. He watched the scared faces around him and remembered Earth's history. Humans knew all about fighting to protect peace. Maybe that's why they had survived their harsh world. The emergency alarms kept ringing, and more reports of attacks came in. The peaceful aliens of the Confederation were about to learn why having friends from a death world might not be such a bad thing after all. Commander Hanbin stood on the bridge of the Confederation defense ship Star Guard, watching the enemy fleet grow larger on the main screen. His ship was one of the few with any weapons. Most Confederation ships were built just for peace and trade. "They call themselves the Keelary," his science officer reported. "Their ships are partly alive. They grow them like plants, but with metal parts too." Hanbin frowned. The Keelary ships looked like giant metal insects. They moved fast in the low gravity of space, quicker than his own ships. "How many colonies have they taken?" 7 in the last 3 days. They don't want to talk. They just take what they want. The bridge crew, made up of various alien species, looked scared. They weren't fighters. The Confederation had been peaceful for so long that most of them had never seen a real battle. Enemy ships moving closer. The sensor officer called out. They're launching smaller ships. Han Bin watched as hundreds of small fighter ships poured out of the larger Keelari vessels. They looked like angry metal wasps. Defensive positions, he ordered. Protect the colony behind us. The battle was short. The Keelari fighters were too fast, too strong. They flew circles around the Confederation ships, shooting strange green beams that cut through shields like they weren't even there. Hull breach on decks 3 and 4, someone shouted. We can't take many more hits. Han Bin hit his command chair in frustration. His human strength left a small dent in the armrest. The Keelari had evolved on a world with almost no gravity, making them perfect for space combat. They moved like they were dancing through space. Commander, his communication officer called out. The colony. They're sending out evacuation ships. Behind them, small civilian ships were racing away from the colony. The Keelari fighters turned to chase them. No, Han Bin shouted. All power to engines. Get between those fighters and the civilian ships. The Star Guard moved to protect the escape ships, taking hit after hit. Warning lights flashed everywhere on the bridge. Smoke filled the air. Commander, his first officer said quietly, we should retreat. We can't stop them. Han Bin watched another colony fall to the Keelari. His ship had barely slowed them down. As a human, he was used to fighting against the odds, but this enemy was different. They weren't just strong. They were built perfectly for space warfare. Send a message to command, he ordered. Tell them everything we learned about the Keelari. And, he paused, knowing what had to be said. Tell them we need Earth's help. The Confederation's ships aren't enough. As the Star Guard limped away from the battle, Han Bin thought about Earth's military fleet. Human ships were stronger, built to survive the same harsh conditions humans had evolved in. Maybe that's what they needed. Ships as tough as their Deathworld crews. The Keelari had never fought humans before. They didn't know what it meant to face people who had grown up on a world that tried to kill them every day. Soon, they would learn. Set course for the nearest repair station, Han Bin ordered. And send a priority message to Earth's ambassador Du Young. Tell him. He looked at the destruction behind them. Tell him it's time. The emergency council meeting was the loudest anyone could remember. Representatives from 50 worlds were all trying to speak at once. The great hall of Unity Station echoed with angry voices. We cannot trust the humans with our defense, shouted the representative from Garden World. His leaves shook with emotion. They are too violent. Science Officer Jai Yun stood calmly at the speaker's platform. As the only human in the Confederation's science division, she had data they needed to hear. Please look at these numbers, she said, bringing up a large display. The screen showed battle footage from Commander Han Bin's failed defense. Next to it were charts showing gravity levels, reaction times, and survival rates. The Keelari ships move too fast for our normal crews, Jai Yun explained. But humans are used to living in high gravity. Our reflexes are faster. We can handle the G-forces their attacks create. Ambassador Du Young watched from his seat. He had called Earth as soon as the first attacks happened. Their ships were ready. They just needed the Council's permission to help. What about the swift ones? Someone asked. They're fast. Jai Yun shook her head. The swift ones can't handle combat gravity. The Keelari weapons push ships with force equal to 3 Earth gravities. Only humans can stay conscious under that kind of pressure. First Bloom, the council leader, raised their glowing petals for quiet. We have lost 12 colonies. Our ships are broken. Our people are dying. Their voice was sad. But humans, they come from a world of death. Can we trust them with our lives? Do Young stood up. You've known me for 5 years, he said. Have I ever acted violent? Have I ever tried to hurt anyone? No, First Bloom admitted. But your military is trained to protect. Du Young finished. Earth has fought wars, Yes, but we've learned from them. We fight to defend, not to conquer. Jai-Yun added more data to the screen. Look at Earth's history of helping other nations after natural disasters. Look at how many peace treaties they've signed. Yes, humans can fight, but we choose to help. The room went quiet as more battle reports came in. 3 more colonies were under attack. The Kilari were getting closer to the core worlds. Ambassador Ral floated forward, their crystal body catching the light. I have worked with humans. They are different from us, but their hearts are good. They fight because their world taught them they must fight to live. Now they offer to fight for us. Do Young touched the communicator on his wrist. Earth's fleet was waiting just 1 jump away. Thousands of ships built to survive anything, crewed by people who had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. First Bloom's petals turned the deep blue of decision. We vote now. Do we accept Earth's help? One by one, the representatives voted. Many were still scared of humans, but they were more scared of the Kilari. The final count was clear. Ambassador Du Young. First Bloom said formally, "Please call your fleet. The Confederation asks Earth for protection." Do Young sent the signal immediately. Somewhere in space, Earth's ships were already moving. The Kilari thought the Confederation was weak because they were peaceful. They were about to learn that having peaceful friends didn't mean you couldn't fight back. Admiral Ta One watched from the bridge of the Earth battleship Thunder as his fleet dropped out of jump space. 500 ships, each built to withstand the worst conditions space could throw at them. They arrived just in time to see the Kilari attacking another colony. All ships, battle formation, Ta One ordered. Remember your training. These aliens think gravity is their friend. Let's show them what Earth gravity really means. The Kilari ships turned to face the newcomers. They moved like dancers through space, their biomechanical ships spinning and twisting with impossible grace. They fired their green energy weapons, expecting another easy victory. They were wrong. Earth's ships didn't try to dodge. They took the hits on their thick armor designed to survive meteor strikes and solar flares. The Kilari weapons left marks but couldn't cut through. Return fire, Ta One commanded. Earth's guns roared to life. On the ground, Lieutenant Su Jin led her Marine team through the colony streets. The Kilari ground forces had never faced humans before. They thought their high-tech weapons made them unstoppable. Team 1, left flank. Su Jin shouted. Her soldiers moved with practiced ease, their muscles built for Earth's heavy gravity, making them stronger than any Kilari warrior. When a Kilari shot hit her shield, she barely felt it. Earth's armor was built to stop things much worse than energy beams. They're retreating. Someone called over the radio. The Kilari ground forces were running back to their ships. They had never met enemies who could stand up to their weapons, who could move forward under fire like it was nothing. In space, the battle was turning. The Kilari's fancy moves didn't work against Earth's ships. Every time they tried their spinning attacks, Earth's gunners predicted where they would be. Years of hunting in Earth's oceans had taught humans how to track fast-moving prey. Admiral, his sensor officer called. They're pulling back. All Kilari ships are retreating. Ta One allowed himself a small smile. Send word to the other colonies. Tell them Earth's fleet is here. Tell them we won't let another world fall. The Confederation ships that watched the battle couldn't believe their eyes. The same Kilari fleet that had destroyed their best defenses was running away from the human ships. How? Asked a Confederation captain over the comm. How did you beat them so easily? Because we're used to fighting gravity itself, Ta One explained. On Earth, everything is heavier. Every day is a battle against our own planet. These Kilari. He shook his head. They think they're strong because they can dance in zero gravity. But real strength comes from growing up somewhere that wants to kill you. Su Jin's voice came over the fleet channel. Ground forces report colony is secure. Kilari ground teams have all retreated. no civilian casualties. It was just the beginning. The Keelari would be back, probably with bigger ships and stronger weapons. But now they knew something they hadn't known before. The peaceful Confederation had friends from a death world. And those friends knew how to fight. Captain Hyunwoo studied the battle map in his command room. Red dots showed where the Keelari were retreating. Blue dots marked human fleet positions. After 3 weeks of fighting, the pattern was clear. They always run when we push them past 2 Earth gravities, he told his crew. Their ships can't handle the pressure, so let's use that. The new battle plan was simple. Human ships would chase Keelari vessels through tight turns, forcing them to fight in high gravity. In these conditions, the Keelari's fancy moves became their weakness. Major Jin-ho led the next attack. His ships caught a Keelari fleet near a gas giant. The planet's gravity made the space around it heavy. They're trying to escape around the planet's edge, his navigator reported. Jin-ho smiled. Not this time. All ships, full thrust, pushed them toward the gravity well. The Keelari ships tried to dodge, but Earth's vessels stayed right behind them. Every turn made the gravity stronger. Soon, the Keelari ships started moving slower. Their biomechanical parts couldn't work properly under the weight. Now, Jin-ho ordered. His fleet opened fire. The battle was over in minutes. For the first time, the Confederation saw an entire Keelari fleet destroyed. But the Keelari had one more trick. They sent messages to all Confederation worlds. The broadcast showed scenes of human battles from Earth's history. Look at these violent creatures, the Keelari message said. They fight their own kind. They build weapons that can destroy worlds. How can you trust them? The plan backfired. Instead of fear, the messages caused curiosity. Confederation species watched the broadcasts and saw something different. They saw humans fighting to protect others. They saw humans rebuilding after wars, helping their enemies recover. Yes, we know how to fight, Ambassador Du Young told the council. We learned because we had to. Our world taught us that survival sometimes means fighting, but it also taught us to protect those who can't fight for themselves. The Keelari didn't understand. They thought showing human battles would scare the Confederation. Instead, it helped them understand why humans were perfect allies. More Keelari fleets retreated. They had never lost battles before meeting humans. Now they were learning what it meant to fight people who grew up treating high gravity as normal. We found their weak point, Captain Hyunwoo told his crew. They think being good at zero gravity makes them strong. But real strength comes from being able to fight even when everything is trying to pull you down. The war wasn't over. But for the first time, everyone knew how it would end. The Keelari had made a big mistake. They had forced the Confederation to call on their friends from a death world. Now they were learning why that was the worst mistake they could have made. Dr. Minji worked quickly in the medical bay of Unity Station. Her patient was a tall, plant-like alien with burns from a Keelari attack. Next to him lay a human soldier with similar wounds. You fight to protect us, the alien said softly, even though many of us feared humans. Minji smiled as she applied healing gel to his wounds. On Earth, doctors treat everyone the same. Friend or stranger, everyone deserves help. News screens across the Confederation showed human ships defending colonies. Stories spread about human soldiers carrying injured aliens to safety, about Earth ships taking damage to protect civilian vessels. The Keelari hadn't expected this. They thought showing humans as warriors would make the Confederation afraid. Instead, everyone was learning that being strong didn't mean being cruel. Then the Keelari made their biggest mistake. They attacked Earth. Multiple enemy fleets approaching Sol system. The warning came. The Keelari had gathered their largest force yet. They thought destroying humanity's homeworld would end the war. They didn't understand what it meant to attack a death world. Earth's defense grid activated. Thousands of satellites, built to survive meteor storms and solar flares, turned their guns on the Keelari ships. Ground batteries, designed to shoot down anything from space debris to invasion forces, opened fire. Admiral Ta One's voice boomed across all channels. "This is Earth. We gave you the chance to retreat. You chose to attack our home instead. Now you'll learn why even our planet's weather is deadlier than your weapons." The battle for Earth showed the galaxy why Deathworlders were different. Human ships fought harder than ever before. The high gravity that the Keelari feared became their doom as Earth's gravity well caught their ships. "Look at their strength," a Confederation leader said, watching the battle. "Not just their weapons. Look at how they protect each other, how they fight harder when defending their home." The Keelari fleet never reached Earth's atmosphere. Their ships, built for the gentleness of space, couldn't handle the approach to a death world. Those that survived fled, learning too late why attacking Earth was a mistake. That day changed everything. Confederation species stopped seeing humans as scary Deathworlders. Now they saw them as protectors, warriors who used their strength to defend others. "We should have known," Ambassador Rawl told Du Young. "Only people from a deadly world would understand the true value of peace. Only those who know death would fight so hard to protect life." The Keelari's attack on Earth marked the moment everything changed. They had tried to destroy humanity's home. Instead, they had shown the galaxy why having friends from a death world was the best defense anyone could have. Engineer Yoon. He stood in her workshop on Unity Station, surrounded by alien scientists. On her table lay a new kind of ship armor, made by mixing Earth metals with Confederation crystal tech. "Earth metals are strong because they form under high pressure," she explained. "Your crystals can channel energy. Together, they make armor that gets stronger when hit." The aliens watched in wonder as she tested the new material. When energy weapons hit it, the armor didn't just block the shot. It absorbed the power and got tougher. "We can defeat the Keelari faster if we work together," Yoon said. "Humans aren't just strong. We know how to make others strong too." Across the station, Lieutenant Su Jin trained alien volunteers. Many Confederation species had never fought before, but now they wanted to help. "You don't have to be from a death world to be brave," Su Jin told them. "You just need to know what you're fighting for." The Keelari found themselves facing something new. Instead of frightened aliens running away, they met determined crews fighting back. Human ships led the attacks, but Confederation ships followed close behind, using new tactics and technology. Admiral Ta One watched from his command ship as a mixed fleet of human and alien vessels drove back another Keelari attack. The enemy ships couldn't handle the new weapons, couldn't predict the new battle plans. "They thought attacking Earth would break us," Ta One said to his crew. "Instead, it brought us all closer together." Engineer Yoon, his innovations spread through the fleet. Ships that once broke under Keelari fire now stood strong. Weapons that once missed now hit their targets. Humans taught their allies how to fight, and the allies taught humans new ways to use technology. "We were wrong about humans," a Confederation captain told his crew. "We thought their strength made them dangerous. Now we see it makes them perfect protectors." The Keelari tried to break this new alliance. They offered peace deals to the Confederation if they would abandon Earth. No one accepted. "Humans bled to protect us," Ambassador Rawl declared at a council meeting. "We won't betray them now." The war entered its final phase. The Keelari found themselves facing united fleets, ships crewed by both humans and aliens working together. Every battle showed them the same truth. They had created the very thing they feared most, a galaxy where everyone had learned to be strong. Together, Engineer Yoon, he told her team as they built more ships, "We're stronger than any death world. Together, we can't lose." The largest fleet ever gathered in Confederation history dropped out of jump space near the Keelari homeworld. Human ships led the formation, their thick armor gleaming. Behind them came ships from every Confederation world, all using Engineer Yoon's new technology. Admiral Ta One stood on his bridge, looking at the Keelari planet. It was beautiful, with low gravity and floating cities in the pink sky. Remember, he told the fleet, we're here to end the war, not destroy their world. The Keelari launched everything they had. Thousands of their biomechanical ships rose from the floating cities. They moved like a swarm of angry insects, their green weapons firing. All ships, battle formation. Ta-1 ordered. Show them what unity looks like. The battle was unlike anything before. Keelari ships tried their usual fast moves, but now the Confederation ships knew how to counter them. Human gunners predicted their paths. Alien crews used their new shields perfectly. Captain Hyunwoo led the first attack wing. Push them toward the gravity points, he ordered. His mixed crew of humans and aliens worked together smoothly. Months of fighting had taught them each other's strengths. On the ground, Lieutenant Soo-jin's troops landed near the main Keelari city. Her force included soldiers from 12 different worlds. The Keelari expected weak aliens led by human warriors. Instead, they found united teams who fought like they'd trained together all their lives. They're retreating to the inner cities, Soo-jin reported. No civilian casualties. The Keelari are protecting their people. Good, Admiral Ta-1 replied. That means they can still think clearly. Signal their leaders. Tell them we're ready to talk when they are. The Keelari leaders had never lost a war. They had never even thought they could lose. But now, they watched as their best ships fell back. Their fastest pilots couldn't outrun the combined fleet. Their strongest weapons couldn't break through the new armor. This is your last chance, Ta-1 broadcast to the Keelari command. Surrender, and we'll help you rebuild. Fight on, and you'll lose everything. The Keelari had one final surprise. They launched their largest ship yet, big as a small moon. But they had rushed its building. The ship's biomechanical parts weren't properly grown. They don't understand, Captain Hyunwoo said as the huge ship approached. Size doesn't matter if you don't know your own strength. The final battle lasted less than an hour. The giant Keelari ship couldn't handle its own weight. It broke apart under the stress of normal space combat, not even needing to be shot down. When the Keelari leaders finally called for peace, they didn't just surrender to the humans. They surrendered to the whole fleet, to every world that had learned to fight together. The Deathworlders had done more than save the Confederation. They had taught the galaxy that true strength comes from unity, not fear. 1 year after the Keelari surrender, Unity Station looked very different. Human ships docked next to Confederation vessels without anyone looking scared. In the halls, aliens and humans worked together like they'd been friends forever. Ambassador Du Young walked into the council chamber for a special meeting. The room had changed too. Now there were strong seats built for human bodies next to the delicate chairs for lighter aliens. Earth is no longer just an ally, First Bloom announced. Today we vote to make them full members of the Confederation leadership. The vote was quick. Every representative said yes. Even the ones who had once feared humans now stood to applaud. Dr. Minji's medical bay had become a place where doctors from all worlds learned from each other. Earth medicine is tough because our bodies are tough, she explained to her alien students. But your gentle healing ways have taught us much too. In the station's engineering section, Yoon-hee worked with teams from 20 worlds. They weren't just building weapons anymore. They were making ships that could help everyone, using the best ideas from all species. The Keelari thought being strong meant being alone, she told her team. We proved that real strength comes from working together. The Keelari themselves had changed. After losing the war, they learned that the Confederation wasn't weak just because they loved peace. Now Keelari ships joined Confederation patrols, learning new ways to use their skills. Lieutenant Soo-jin led the first mixed training program, where Keelari pilots learned alongside humans and other aliens. Everyone has something to teach, she said. Everyone has something to learn. In the council, Du Young spoke about Earth's new role. We were called Deathworlders like it was something bad, he said. Now we know it just means we're good at protecting others. Earth pledges to always use its strength to defend peace. First Bloom's petals glowed with all colors of happiness. The Keelari attacked because they thought gentle worlds were weak. They forced us to call our human friends for help. But in doing so, they gave us all a great gift. What gift? Asked a new Keelari representative, who now sat among them. They taught us that the strongest garden needs both tall trees and soft flowers. First Bloom answered, that true peace comes not from hiding from strength, but from using strength wisely. The Confederation had changed forever. Humans were no longer the scary Deathworlders from a harsh planet. They were the protectors, the teachers, the friends who came when called and stayed to make things better. And somewhere in the galaxy, anyone thinking of attacking the Confederation now had to face a simple truth. Peaceful doesn't mean weak. Gentle doesn't mean helpless. And having friends from a death world means never having to face danger alone.